Hi, and welcome to May Record a Day, Day 20. Today's record was a Twitter request. Thank you, MedicGoalie84. I spent a lot of time thinking about what makes an album rare, and I boiled it down to 4 ideas. 1. Limited quantity. This one is obvious. If there are fewer of something, it is more rare. 2. High demand. If the demand exceeds the supply, then the record is hard to find, making it scarce or rare, and usually expensive. 3. Unusually good or remarkable. 4. Uncooked vinyl biscuit. Most of the time when I think of a rare record, I'm thinking of a tender, juicy, delicious, uncooked vinyl biscuit. I'm thinking of either the first or the second idea. I don't usually think of the third idea because my taste in music is generally yes, and I tend to like almost anything very enthusiastically. I think about the fourth choice a lot because I'm always hungry, but not for vinyl biscuits. Ugh. So here are, by category, my rarest records. Category 1, limited quantity. I had 3 records that tied in this category. The first is Banks' The Remixes. I love, love, love her voice. It is just so flexible and just floaty, and this album is not really in high demand, but it's rare because there are only 500 copies in the entire world. The second one that ties for limited quantity is my Lizzo 7-inch Paris and Faded. Don't squeeze the bottom when the top is open. Lizzo is a rising star in the hip-hop scene, particularly in Minnesota, and this was a freebie on Record Store Day 2014. I had to do some digging to figure out how many copies of these were actually pressed, and I found out that there are only 500. Mine is number 73, which is my favorite number reversed. This next one is kind of questionable. The number that were pressed are technically undisclosed, and I would really appreciate it if they would actually release the exact number. But I've heard from several places that there were only 500 copies pressed. This record is Elvis, My Happiness, which was a Record Store Day 2015 release. I'm a little skeptical because over 800 people on Discogs have said that they own this record, which would be impossible if it were only a 500 release. So that wraps up Category 1. Category 2 is high demand. And there were 2 records that really stood out to me from my collection, both of which I've actually already talked about, so I'm just going to briefly. The first one is Churches Recover EP. And while this one is not technically rare in quantity because there are 2,500 pressed, it has sold for as much as $80 on Discogs. However, mine is not really the typical copy of this because I did get it signed by the band. I was looking on eBay to see what a signed one was going for, and what I found wasn't really helpful. There's a couple that are being sold as separate, so you can bid on just the cover and you can bid on just the album. And they're going for, one of them is going for $250 and the other is going for $300, and I was like, that's a little ridiculous. There are no bids on this, so obviously that price exceeds the demand. So I'm just going to go with the Discogs high price of $80 as kind of the high-end market value. The last record in this category is Now Now Threads. I had absolutely no idea how sought after or in high demand this record was until someone brought it to my attention on Reddit and said that they had been looking for this one for a long time and had only recently found it for $90. This record has sold for as much as $100 on Discogs, and I just can't get over the fact that I paid like $20 for this at a show. $90 happens to be the median price on Discogs for this album. The lowest price that it has sold for is $60. So those records are among my rarest in my collection. I couldn't really choose one because there's a couple different ways to look at choosing a rarest record, and few were tied, so I had to talk about them all. Oops, not sorry. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of May Record a Day. I try to put one of these out every single day, but sometimes life gets in my way. Yeah, that rhymes. Day 20 already. I can't believe I've been doing this for 20 days. If you like what you see, you can comment and subscribe and like and share, and find me on Twitter and tweet at me. It's probably more like tweet at me, who uses Twitter on their computer. I will see you tomorrow for day 21 of May Record a Day.